What is up, guys? Welcome back to another critique video. Today we're going to be taking a look at a video about how to build a computer from a channel called The Verge. So The Verge is a tech channel, and you'd expect a tech channel to know how to make a video about how to build a computer, but that's not the case here. So let's call this guy Fred, okay? Fred here should not be behind the camera in this video. He doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, he kind of knows what he's doing, but not really. He doesn't know what he's talking about in some parts of the video. And he's just not qualified. I don't know how this video got past quality control from The Verge, if they even have quality control, because if anyone was following this guide about how to build a computer, it would either not work or stop working very quickly. So if you go to look for this video on The Verge's channel, you're not going to find it because they actually took it down, which I think is a good idea because it's not a good beginner guide at all. I'm not the YouTube police, they can upload whatever they want, but it really made them look bad. Alright, I'm gonna stop yapping my lips and we can watch this damn video. I'm gonna start this video off where he's talking about what you need in order to build a computer.
A thermal paste applicator, an Allen wrench, some tweezers to tighten up the wires.
Tweezers? Are you kidding me? Who calls zip ties tweezers? This isn't even computer related. This is just English. Who calls a pair of zip ties tweezers?
A Swiss Army knife, which hopefully has a Phillips head screwdriver in it.
Yeah, that's right, guys. Instead of buying a Phillips head screwdriver, buy a Swiss Army knife and hope and pray to God that it has a Phillips head screwdriver in it.
And last but not least, an anti-static bracelet, which is to protect you and the parts. These are the parts you're gonna need, but...
Okay, the whole point of an anti-static wristband is to ground yourself so you don't build up static electricity. You need a wire connecting to something that will ground you. You can't put on your coexist bracelet and hope that it... How does he think this is gonna work? Okay, so he takes all the parts out of the boxes, he explains what each part does. He did a pretty good job at that, so I'm just gonna skip ahead to the part where he starts building the computer.
And now we're really gonna start building by adding the motherboard in.
Okay, just a minor criticism. It's easier to install the CPU into the motherboard first and then install the motherboard, not put the motherboard in first and then the CPU, but there's no real right way of doing it. It's just easier that way.
Some notes about installing motherboards: they're really delicate, you should be really careful with them, and screw in with confidence, but also don't screw in too hard, otherwise you could crack the board. I chose Asus's Z370 motherboard for two main reasons. One, it has built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and also it has support for NVMe SSDs, meaning you can get really fast SSDs that are really easy to install. Pay close attention to the brace that goes at the back of the computer. You always have to make sure that you really hammer it in.
Okay, so it's called an IO shield and you don't have to hammer it in, okay? It's not that hard to put an IO shield in the back of your case. I don't know what this guy is on about. It's not a brace, my dude. This isn't your orthodontist.
Step 3, we're going to install the hard drive, or in this case, the NVMe SSD. I chose this format of solid-state drive so that I could input it into the motherboard without having to worry about extra wires or putting it in a separate part of the case and just getting really messy.
Okay, so this guy is talking about messy. Okay, wait till you see the finished build. This guy is not concerned about messiness whatsoever, okay? Just wait. Well, you'll see at the end.
This is from Kingston, and it's 480 gigabytes, so it's not a lot, but you can always upgrade this and swap it out.
Wait. Okay, Fred put the RAM in the wrong slots. You're supposed to space them out to take advantage of both channels. This is a dual channel motherboard, and he's only utilizing one channel with the RAM in that configuration.
And it's only held down by one screw and the latch, so it's really simple and really straightforward. Power supply time. I chose Corsair's 850 watt power supply because I need enough headroom for ray tracing GPUs when they come out, and I don't want to have to upgrade it again. So all you have to do is take the brick and make sure that you align it with these little insulating pads so that the power supply doesn't short circuit and come into contact with the rest of the system.
What are you talking about, dude? Okay, those are to prevent vibrations. Those aren't to insulate your case from your power supply. Think about this for a second. When you screw in the power supply, what do you screw it into? Oh, that's right, into the metal case with metal screws. So if that was the purpose of those things, they wouldn't work anyway because your power supply is screwed into the case, dude. What is this guy on about? Who told him this information?
So just take it in, slide it in nice and easy until you have a snug fit, and then shift it to the back and make sure it's right up against the frame.
Yeah, I'm sure his power supply is going to be really happy being suffocated of air because it's facing inward right behind the motherboard tray where it's not going to be able to pull barely any air, dude. Really great idea. Really awesome idea. I'm glad you're so concerned about safety and insulating the power supply from the rest of the case.
So next step, we're going to install the CPU cooler. In this case, it's going to go on the top end of the case, and we're just going to have the hose hang out for a little while until we install the processor, which is going to come a little later. Always be sure to try to place it in the system first before you install it.
Listen to that prophetic quote from this man. To install something, you must put it in first. Wow. Wow.
Because you can see it takes up a lot of space. But in this case, no pun intended, it fits in perfectly, and we're gonna start screwing it in. And so there's nothing special about this screwing in process. They're just really long screws because they go through the entire frame of the cooler.
Oh yeah. He forgot to mention that those are actually the wrong screws for the job, okay? Those screws are supposed to go through the fans and attach the fans to the radiator. You're supposed to use the short screws for fixing the radiator to the case. But buddy old pal Fred here didn't really know that.
And they take forever.
Yeah. I wonder why, man. I wonder why.
So next up, cables. Every power supply is going to come with a big bag of Velcro cables.
Have you guys ever heard of Velcro cables? Because I haven't. I've heard of braided cables, but not Velcro cables.
We're installing the CPU, the heart of the computer or the brain, depending on how you look at it. So to do this, we're just going to remove the plastic covering that they put on the motherboard. We're just going to take this little plastic part out. We'll just toss that out of here. And now we have an exposed CPU holder, or rather slot.
Yeah, it's called a socket. It's the CPU socket, buddy.
On the motherboard. And we're going to use the CPU applicator. This is a special little part that not everyone may get, but...
Why is he pushing on the CPU pins? You don't do that.
This motherboard that we got from ASUS definitely does have. It's called a CPU installation tool. It makes it really useful if you want to install a Core i7 hexa-core CPU. Yeah, we've got one.
You have a 6-core i7? What? I mean, the one that anyone can get on Amazon? No way!
And it's an 8th generation chip, and it's ready to go, and it supports overclocking. So what having this little installer does for you is it's basically a brace.
Correction, it does nothing for you. Just put the damn CPU in the socket and lock it down.
That you can apply right to the CPU and light it up with the triangles that you'll see on the bottom left corners. And this will make it easier for us to apply it to the motherboard and then apply thermal paste and then apply a CPU cooler on top. And we're just gonna carefully lean it down into the system and make sure that everything lines up. And we're gonna clasp down on it and we'll be good to go. So we're about to apply thermal paste to the CPU.
Oh no.
Every CPU cooler actually comes with a bit of thermal paste already neatly applied in a circle around it, but it's usually not enough.
Ding, ding, ding. Oh, that's the bullshit bell. It seems to ring every time Fred says something about a computer. Listen, okay, you don't need any more thermal paste than what comes pre-applied to a CPU cooler. And if you want to use an aftermarket thermal paste, clean off the pre-applied thermal paste and use your aftermarket thermal paste. Just a pea-sized dot, that's all you need. That's like taking your ass down to the car dealership, buying a brand new car, it starts overheating, you find out it doesn't have enough coolant, and you ask the dealership, hey, what's up with this? Oh, that's how they come, man, you gotta put your own damn coolant in it. Let's see what Fred does.
It's good, essentially PC building practice to have a little bit extra and layer it on top of the CPU.
I didn't know what to expect, but it looks like Fred is trying to use the whole tube of thermal paste. He said a little bit extra, okay? Not the whole damn thing.
The final portion is to add the CPU cooler to the top end of the processor. So you're gonna see that there are 4 brackets, or rather like screws in here with brackets and holders right here.
All right, Picasso, slow down with the thermal paste, dude. This isn't a paint canvas, it's a freaking processor.
And they're going to keep the cooler raised off the processor, but it's also gonna be close enough to actually physically come in contact with it.
Wow, such a poet the way this man speaks. He says it's gonna be raised off the processor, but close enough to come in contact. I don't know how the hell that works, but that's amazing.
Basically keep it cool. Take thumb screws like this and just screw them on. So So now that our internals are done, we're gonna put all the panels back on, which is the top glass, side glass, front glass, and of course the back panel where all of this fun stuff is happening. So we fully built the PC.
What is he? Is he sharing this case with squirrels so they can have a little nest during the wintertime? I mean, what the hell is this cable management, dude? Remember earlier when he was talking about the SSD and he was like, oh, this doesn't have wires, it won't be as messy. Did you even really care about messiness? Because it doesn't really seem like it whatsoever. You know, come to think of it, it's not his fault the cables aren't all tied up. They just didn't give him enough tweezers. Another thing, when did they put the fans on the radiator? I guarantee you someone said, yeah, those aren't the right screws, man. And then he had to take the screws out, put the right screws in the top, then use the long screws for the fans on the underside of the radiator.
Everything's put together, and we got to the post screen. So what's next? Well, you need a USB flash drive with your Windows installation media on it, and of course, a license key. So I plugged that up, installed Windows in a couple of minutes, installed a bunch of drivers, and now we have a fully functioning gaming PC ready to run some games. So right now I'm playing League of Legends. It's one of my favorite games. I'm actually playing against a bot, and I'm distracted, so I'm not actually doing so well. But otherwise, like, this is pretty much what you would see me do on a gaming computer. Test stuff out, and hopefully have really high frame rates like I am right now. I'm averaging 120 FPS, and that's only because I've actually locked the game to that frame rate, because I can get around 300 FPS playing League on maximum settings, which is a little bit absurd, and you don't really need that, so I locked it.
The more frames, the better, okay? I don't know why you would lock your frame rate. I play Counter-Strike, I get like 250, 300 frames, and I do notice a difference. I don't know why he would lock his frame rate at 120. Well, nice try, Verge, and Fred, you did your best, man. I hope the Verge tries again and tries to make another guide. Maybe they'll ace it next time and it'll be perfect, but I recommend they get someone behind the camera that actually knows what they're doing and knows the correct terminology, because Fred, come on, man, you just made a big fool of yourself, okay? I mean, you gotta know what you're doing if you're gonna make a tutorial. And like I said, it's on a tech channel. A tech channel. Like, out of all places where a bad computer building guide could come from, it comes from a tech channel. And by the way, I have nothing personal against Fred. This is not a video where I'm trying to bully him or anything like that. But if you're gonna make a video on how to do something, make sure you know how to do it in the first place. If you guys have any videos you want me to take a look at, you can send them to me on Twitter or Discord, whichever you choose, and I'll take a look and think about making a video on them. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.